Gentlemen over 60, listen closely. If you wake up in the morning and that natural force you once relied on feels silent, don't rush to blame your age. Here's the surprising truth. Your body is not broken and your manhood hasn't disappeared forever. It's simply fallen asleep, and with the right spark, it can be awakened stronger than ever. My name is Dr. Andrew Miles, a urologist who has dedicated more than 30 years to helping men restore their confidence, intimacy, and vitality. I've seen thousands of men in their 60s, even 70s, bring back what they thought was gone for good, without risky surgeries, without dangerous drugs. Just by using their own breath, their own hands, and a few minutes each day, remarkable changes happen. Here's the paradox: most men believe aging robs them of their erections permanently, but science and real experience prove the opposite. Deep inside your nerves, your blood vessels, your manhood, they're still alive, just quieter than before. The secret isn't a pill, a pump, or a device. It lies in 3 hidden pressure points in your body, like secret switches waiting to be turned on. Press them the right way, and your mornings will never be the same again. That's my promise to you. By learning these 3 points and combining them with simple daily habits, you can restore blood flow, revive sensation, and bring back those natural morning erections without shame, without fear, and without dependence on anyone else. Stay with me, because in just a moment, I'll reveal each of these points in detail. I'll show you exactly how to find them and the simple habits that make them work for life. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful tip for men over 60. And if this message speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. If not, type 0 so I can keep improving these lessons for you. Now let's begin with the most important truth. Your erections don't vanish just because you've grown older. What really happens is that your body's natural pathways for blood and nerve signals simply go quiet, and together we're going to wake them up. Once you truly understand this, everything begins to shift. The first truth, and perhaps the most powerful, is the connection between aging and erections. I wish every man past 60 could hear this directly from his doctor. Losing those natural morning erections does not mean your body is broken, damaged, or beyond repair. It's not proof that your manhood has left you. In reality, what's happening is far simpler and far more hopeful. Your body still remembers how to rise in the morning. Your nerves are still alive. Your blood vessels are still capable. Your manhood hasn't gone anywhere, it's waiting quietly. But over the years, the signals that once fired so strongly have grown softer. The switches that used to turn on effortlessly now lie dormant, and the pathways that carried blood and energy have been neglected. I've spoken with countless men in my clinic who lower their voices and confess, "Doc, is something wrong with me? I used to wake up strong every day, but now I feel nothing." And I look them straight in the eyes and tell them, there's nothing wrong with you. Your body just needs to be reminded of what it already knows. Aging does not mean losing. Growing older doesn't erase your ability. It only makes it easier to forget the signals that once came naturally. Think of it like a room in your home you haven't stepped into for years. The electricity is still running, the lights still work, but because the switch hasn't been flipped, the room stays dark. That doesn't mean the power is gone. It simply means the connection hasn't been made. Erections work the same way the current is still inside your body. You just haven't flipped the switch in a while. I'll never forget a man named Henry, 74 years old, who came to me with tears in his eyes. He said, "Doc, I don't even care about sex anymore. What I want is to wake up one morning and feel alive again." That sentence struck me deeply because it revealed what so many men truly desire. Not just an erection, but the sense of vitality, confidence, and dignity that comes with it. And within just a few weeks of practicing the methods I'm about to share, Henry called me and said, "This morning, for the first time in 10 years, I felt like myself again." That is the real truth about aging and erections. They don't vanish just because you've grown older. They fade only because you stop sending the signals, because no one ever taught you how to keep those pathways alive. And here's the hope: those very same pathways are still inside you right now, waiting to be awakened the moment you give them the attention they deserve. Now, this is where things become truly exciting. There are 3 hidden spots on your body that function like secret switches. When you press them the right way, combined with proper breathing and focus, you flip the circuits back on. Blood starts flowing, sensation returns, and your body naturally remembers what it once did with ease. Let me introduce the very first of these points, the area just above your pubic bone. Most men go through life never giving this place a second thought, dismissing it as nothing more than skin and bone. But in reality, it's one of the most powerful control centers of male vitality. When I gently guide a man to press this spot, I often see his eyes widen in surprise as if something long forgotten suddenly awakens inside him. At first, it feels subtle, like a soft hum of energy, but that hum can grow into warmth, into circulation, and eventually into a natural response that no pill on earth could ever replicate. I'll never forget a gentleman named Victor, 67 years old, who came into my office carrying the weight of defeat. He told me, "Doc, I think it's gone. I haven't woken up strong in years." I placed his hand on that exact spot above the pubic bone, coached him to breathe deeply, and apply gentle, steady pressure, no force, just presence. Within minutes, he felt a faint warmth spreading through his body. His face lit up, his posture straightened, and for the first time in our session, he smiled. 2 weeks later, Victor returned and said, "Every morning now, I feel something stirring again. I thought it was gone forever, but it's coming back." That is the real power of this first point. It's not magic, it's pure biology. Just beneath that area run critical blood vessels and nerves that feed the lower organs. Over time, when you stop engaging them, the signals weaken, the vessels constrict, and circulation slows to a crawl. By stimulating this spot with patience and mindful breathing, you are literally reminding your body to send blood and energy back where it belongs. Think of it like knocking on a door that's been shut for years. The moment you knock, the door opens and those hidden pathways awaken. I often tell my patients, don't rush this process. This isn't about pressing hard or trying to force an instant erection. It's about reestablishing communication with your own body. Your manhood listens when you treat it with patience and care. And when that dialogue returns, strength follows naturally. Many men have told me that this simple daily practice not only restored their physical response, but also gave them back their confidence, dignity, and the reassurance that their bodies are still alive and capable. Yet as powerful as this first point is, it's only the beginning. Because there's another area almost never mentioned, rarely taught, that may hold the greatest key of all. It lies in a hidden space between the scrotum and the anus, a place most men ignore, but one that can unleash a surge of circulation and sensation when awakened. This is the second point, the perineum, that soft stretch of tissue between your anus and your scrotum. And I can say with absolute certainty, very few men have ever truly paid attention to it. In Eastern medicine, this point has been recognized for thousands of years and is often referred to as CV1. But in Western medicine, it is rarely mentioned, a true oversight, because this small area carries extraordinary influence over a man's circulation and sensitivity. I still remember when I first began introducing this spot to patients. Many men stared at me in disbelief, as if I must be joking. Why should I focus on a place I've ignored all my life? But then I would guide them carefully, asking them to sit on a rolled-up towel or a soft cushion, breathe deeply, and simply let the body relax into it. What often followed was nothing short of remarkable. Within minutes, men would feel warmth spreading through their lower body, a faint pulsing, or just a subtle awareness that something within them was waking up again. I recall one patient, Leo, a 71-year-old former Marine, who came to me saying, "Doc, it feels like the lights went out down there. I don't feel anything anymore." I taught him to sit with gentle pressure on the perineum, no forcing, no pushing, only stillness and breath. Just days later, he called me and said, "Something's happening. It's faint, but I feel a pulse again. I feel alive." Weeks later, he told me his mornings were no longer empty. Warmth, sensation, and even natural strength were returning, things he thought had been gone forever. Why does this happen? Because the perineum acts like a valve. When it's tight and neglected, blood flow gets blocked, nerve signals are disrupted, and the body forgets how to channel energy to the penis. But when you release that tension by sitting, breathing, and applying gentle awareness, the valve opens. Blood that has been trapped for years begins to flow again. Nerve pathways reconnect, and slowly sensation creeps back into a place you may have believed lost to time. It doesn't happen overnight, but even the smallest flicker of feeling can ignite enormous hope. And hope, more than anything else, is what transforms everything. Once a man feels even the faintest spark of life returning to his lower body, his entire mindset changes. He no longer believes he's broken. He no longer sees aging as surrender. Instead, he carries himself with confidence, trusting that his body still responds, realizing that getting older doesn't mean giving up on himself. That's why I believe the perineum is so crucial. It's the hidden gateway, the secret switch most men never discover. But once awakened, it unleashes a wave of healing that changes everything. Yet as powerful as that point is, there is still another one, and it surprises nearly every man I've ever introduced it to. It doesn't sit on your groin at all. In fact, it runs along your inner thigh, a place you've probably never associated with erections. And yet, when you finally learn how to touch it, you may find it holds the final key to restoring your natural strength and energy in ways you never imagined. This is the third point, the inner thigh crease, also known as the femoral pathway. It's not on your penis, not even on your groin, but it plays a direct role in whether you wake up with morning strength. The point rests along the crease of your inner thigh, right where the thigh meets the lower abdomen. Beneath that soft line lie the femoral artery and nerve, two of the body's major highways delivering blood and signals directly to your manhood. When these pathways grow stiff, blocked, or neglected, erections lose their fullness, their sensitivity, and the effortless power they once had. But when you reawaken them, everything changes. The truth is, most men think of their thighs only as muscles for walking, standing, or sitting. They rarely connect them to sexual health. I recall one patient named Ethan, a 68-year-old truck driver. He had spent decades behind the wheel, and by the time he came to me, he felt completely disconnected from his lower body. "Doc," he said, "I always thought my thighs were just there to carry me around. I never once imagined they had anything to do with what happens in the bedroom." I showed Ethan how to trace his fingertips along the crease of his inner thigh, pausing on tender or tight spots, breathing slowly as he applied gentle pressure. At first he was doubtful. He laughed and said it felt strange, even pointless. But within a week, something surprising happened. With a smile, he told me, "Doc, I feel warmer down there. It's like the blood is moving again." By the second week, he admitted he was waking up with strength he hadn't felt in years. But what struck me most was what he added. "I don't just feel more alive in my body, I feel like a man again." That is the true power of this hidden point. It doesn't just restore circulation, it restores confidence, control, and the quiet dignity of knowing your body still responds. The science here is both simple and profound. The femoral artery is the direct pipeline delivering blood to the lower organs. The femoral nerve is one of the main highways carrying sensation. When these pathways grow restricted or stiff, no pill on earth can fully replace what's lost. But by pressing, massaging, and breathing into this area, you release the tension, improve flexibility, and open the pathway back up. Blood begins to flow freely once more. The nervous system is reminded that the connection is still alive. And many of the men I've worked with report more than just stronger erections. They tell me they're sleeping more deeply, waking calmer, and even walking with more energy in their legs. It's as if the entire lower body comes alive again, bringing with it the manhood that had been waiting quietly for its return. By now, you've discovered all three of the hidden points: the pubic bone, the perineum, and the inner thigh line, the switches that can restore your natural strength. But pressing these points alone is only part of the story. If the foundation of your body is weak, the effects may fade too quickly. That's why I want to share with you a set of daily habits, small but powerful, that transform these techniques from a brief spark into a lasting flame. And once you hear them, you'll understand why the men who practice them don't just wake up harder, they live with more energy, more vitality, and more peace than they ever imagined. By now, you may be wondering, why do these 3 points, the spot above the pubic bone, the perineum, and the inner thigh crease, make such a dramatic difference? What's really happening beneath the skin when you press, breathe, and bring awareness to them? The answer is not mystery or magic. It is straightforward science combined with the wisdom of reconnecting with your own body. An erection is simply the result of two systems working in harmony: blood flow and nerve signals. When those systems are strong and open, you wake up hard every morning without even thinking about it. But when they are blocked, neglected, or forgotten, your morning strength fades. Not because you've lost the ability, but because communication has been disrupted. Picture your body as a city. The arteries are the roads carrying traffic, while the nerves are the power lines lighting up the city. If the roads are blocked, the cars can't pass. If the power lines fail, the lights dim. But once you clear the streets and restore the current, the entire city comes alive again. That is exactly what these points do. The pubic bone point reignites deep circulation in the pelvis, sending fresh blood to the organs that depend on it. The perineum works like a valve, releasing flow that may have been trapped for years and reawakening silent nerves. And the inner thigh line opens the main highway, allowing blood and signals to surge freely back to your manhood. I've seen countless men who thought they were finished, convinced that age had stolen everything, discover, within weeks of stimulating these points, that warmth, sensation, and strength of return. I think of Leonard, 69 years old, who once told me, "Doc, I don't even care about sex anymore. I just want to know my body still responds." After practicing these techniques, he called me one morning with a voice full of excitement. It happened. I woke up hard. No pills, no tricks, just me. The joy in his words said it all. It wasn't just about the physical change. It was about dignity, confidence, and the deep relief of knowing he was still whole. Science confirms exactly what these men have been feeling. When blood flows freely, nitric oxide is released, vessels expand, and sensitivity heightens. When nerves awaken, the brain begins sending stronger signals, and the body responds instantly. You don't need to fight your body. All you need to do is remind it of the pathways it already knows. Once you do, your mornings shift from emptiness to undeniable proof of life. But here's the key: while these 3 points are powerful, they are not the complete answer. Think of them as switches that flip the lights on. If the wiring of the house is corroded, the lights may still flicker or fade. To make the change last, to keep the current flowing for years, you must strengthen the foundation your body depends on. And that's where a few simple daily habits come in. Habits so small they may surprise you, but so powerful they transform these techniques from a spark into a lasting flame. Once you embrace them, you'll realize that the true secret to lasting strength isn't in what you do. Once it's in what you choose to do every single day. That's why I want to introduce you to 5 supporting habits. Daily boosters that make all the difference. Pressing the points alone can create a spark. But if you want to keep waking up strong morning after morning, you must back them up with these practices. And don't worry, they aren't complicated routines or heavy exercises. They are small, simple actions that build the foundation your erections need to thrive. At first, many men dismiss them as too basic, but those who commit find their results multiply many times over. The first habit is breathing. Not the shallow, quick breathing most of us do without noticing, but deep, slow belly breathing, the kind that awakens life force and recharges your body from within. I've seen men lower their blood pressure, relax their blood vessels, and boost their nitric oxide, all from just 5 minutes a day of slow, mindful belly breathing through the nose. One man told me, "Doc, I didn't believe something so simple could matter. But after a week, I noticed my body felt calmer, and in the mornings, my response was stronger." Breathing reconnects you to life itself, and your manhood responds to that connection. The second habit is hydration. But not just any hydration, starting your morning with a glass of warm water. After a long night, your blood naturally thickens. Warm water gently thins it, helping circulation flow freely, especially to the parts of your body that matter most. It's a small act, but one that primes your entire system for strength. The third habit is reducing sugar, especially in the evening. I know how comforting dessert can be after dinner, but sugar quietly damages the inner lining of your blood vessels. Every spoonful makes it harder for your arteries to heal. And weaker arteries mean weaker erections. I've had patients who simply cut out their nightly ice cream, and within weeks they noticed their morning strength return because their vessels were finally given a chance to recover. The fourth habit is movement. You don't need marathons or heavy lifting. All it takes is a short walk after dinner. That simple walk activates your body's natural venous pump, the mechanism that pushes blood back up to your heart and keeps it circulating evenly. It's gentle, it's safe, and it makes a profound difference in how blood reaches your lower body overnight. The fifth habit is how you treat your body. If you rush through the pressure points with frustration or impatience, your nervous system resists. But when you approach them with care, respect, and presence, as though tending to something sacred, your body listens. This isn't new age fluff. It's how the nervous system responds to mindful attention. Together, these 5 daily habits form the foundation that transforms 3 hidden points from a temporary spark into a lifelong practice, helping you preserve your natural strength for years to come. These daily habits are the reinforcements, the small acts that keep your results from fading. They're the way you tell your body, I still value you. I still trust you. But if you're still wondering whether these practices truly work, you're not alone. Many men feel skeptical at first. They think, could it really be this simple? Are the results too good to be true? Maybe I'm the exception, the man whose body just won't respond. I understand that doubt because I've sat across from hundreds of men who felt the same way. But what I've witnessed over the years has taught me something powerful. When a man commits to these practices, no matter his age, his body finds a way to respond. And the transformations I've seen go beyond the physical. They reach deep into the heart, restoring dignity, confidence, and connection in ways words can barely capture. Let me share the story of Harvey, a 74-year-old retired postal worker. He came to me one evening exhausted after trying every pill and remedy he could find. He said, "Doc, I don't need to feel 20 again. I just want to wake up one morning and feel like I still matter." His words carried the weight of loneliness and disappointment, feelings so many men carry in silence. I taught him the 3 hidden points, encouraged him to be patient, and reminded him, your body is not broken. It simply needs to remember. 3 weeks later, he called me, his voice trembling with emotion. "It happened, Doc. This morning I woke up with strength, natural strength, for the first time in over a decade. That day, it wasn't just Harold's erection that returned, it was his sense of being alive, of being whole again." Then there was Leonard, 69 years old, who admitted to me he no longer cared much about sex. "I just want to know my body can still respond." He started the practice without much expectation, but soon warmth crept back. Sensitivity returned, and a faint pulse he thought was gone forever began to stir. One morning he woke up, felt his body respond, and sent me a message, "Doc, now I know I'm not finished. There's still life left in me." That moment changed everything for him. It proved that age had not stolen his manhood. And I'll never forget Earl, the truck driver, who spent decades stiff behind the wheel, his body worn and tired. When he learned to awaken the inner thigh line, he didn't just regain stronger erections. He discovered new energy in his legs and a calmness in his mornings that surprised even him. "I feel more in control," he told me. "I feel like a man again." What ties these stories together is not simply the return of morning strength. It's the return of hope, dignity, and confidence. These men began to walk taller, sleep deeper, and look in the mirror with pride instead of defeat. Their lives changed because they realized their bodies still had more to give, that they were not finished, that they were still capable of feeling alive. But as inspiring as these stories are, there remains one final lesson, perhaps the most important of all. Because if you want these changes to last, not for a week, not for a month, but for the rest of your life, you must understand the one principle that makes all the difference. And once you hear it, you'll realize your best years are not behind you. They are quietly waiting ahead. The final lesson: commitment. After decades of working with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I've learned one truth that rises above all the rest. Real change does not come from trying something once, not from pressing a point for a few minutes and expecting a miracle. Real change comes from commitment. True transformation doesn't come from trying something once or twice. It comes from showing up every single day with patience and purpose. That is how a simple practice becomes a ritual, how a spark grows into a flame, and how a man reclaims what he once believed was lost forever. I've seen men discover the 3 points and feel a surge of hope, only to slip back into doubt when they stop practicing. And I've seen others turn these techniques into a daily act of self-respect, and the result was extraordinary. They didn't just change their mornings, they transformed their entire lives. The difference wasn't their age, it wasn't their medical history, it wasn't luck. The difference was consistency. These men chose to treat their bodies as worthy of care. They invested just a few minutes each day, breathing, pressing, reconnecting. And over time, those minutes rewrote the story of their manhood. What I want you to understand is this isn't about chasing youth. It's not about turning back the clock or pretending you were 25 again. It's about stepping into this stage of life with dignity, confidence, and strength. It's about telling your body, I still believe in you. I still value you. I will not abandon you. And when you do that, when you turn these methods into a daily ritual, your body responds in ways that will surprise you. You'll wake up stronger, you'll sleep more deeply, and you'll carry yourself with a quiet assurance that everyone around you will notice. I think of Walter, who once told me, "Doc, I feel like I've been given back a part of myself I thought was gone." I think of Harold, who discovered that his mornings still held promise. I think of Leonard, who found pride in knowing his body could still answer him. None of these men were trying to be young again. What they reclaimed was presence, self-respect, and their connection to life itself. That is the final lesson I want to leave you with. Real change doesn't come from pressing a point once or twice and waiting for a miracle. It comes from choosing every single day to breathe, to reconnect, to touch with patience, and to believe your body still holds power. Because it does. And when you treat that power with consistency and respect, it rewards you in ways that reach far beyond erections. It transforms the way you see yourself as a man. As we move into the final part of this journey, I want to bring everything together: the points, the habits, the stories, and the science, all leading us to one undeniable conclusion. Your prime is not a memory of the past. It is a reality waiting to be lived again. Now, as we close this journey, take a moment to reflect on what you've just learned. You may have started this video with doubt, maybe even frustration, wondering if your best days were already behind you. But now you know the truth. Your body is not broken, your manhood is not gone, and your age does not define your ability to feel alive again. You've discovered 3 simple points above the pubic bone, the perineum, and along the inner thigh crease, hidden switches waiting patiently to be flipped back on. And you've learned how combining them with 5 simple daily habits: deep belly breathing, warm water in the morning, reducing sugar, gentle evening walks, and treating your body with respect creates the foundation for lasting strength. I've shared not only the science, but also the real stories of men, Harvey, Leonard, Earl, men who once believed they were finished only to discover their bodies still carried life, dignity, and power. And as I've told their stories, I've thought of you, the man sitting here right now listening to these words, because I know that inside you too there is a spark, a quiet desire to wake up and know your body still belongs to you, still answers. You still carries the strength of a man who has lived, endured, and overcome. This is not about chasing youth. It is about reclaiming yourself, your confidence, your presence, and your dignity. This journey is not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming what has always been yours, even if it has been quiet for too long. Every time you press these points with patience, every time you breathe deeply, you're not just stimulating blood flow or nerves. You are telling yourself, I am still here. I still matter. My life is not finished. Every time you take an evening walk, choose water over sugar, or slow your breath, you are reinforcing that same message. I respect my body. I trust my body. I will not give up on my body. The final lesson I want you to carry with you is this: real change is not about doing something once. It is about showing up every single day with care and intention. That is how men like Walter Thomas and so many others transform not only their mornings, but their confidence and their sense of self. And it is exactly how you can too. The power you seek has been inside you all along, waiting to be awakened. So as you finish this message, take it personally. Tonight when you lie down, or tomorrow morning when you rise, make the choice to begin. Find the points, breathe, commit to showing up for yourself. Because once you do, you'll discover what countless men have already found. Your prime is not behind you. It is alive right now, ready to return the moment you decide to claim it. And when you do, you won't just wake up harder, you'll wake up stronger, prouder, and more deeply connected to the man you truly are.